So now you'll be standing, and just get a broomstick, mop or a dowel, something like this, standing with your feet hip width apart, and you're gently going to rotate the upper body from side to side. This is going to allow rotation through the thoracics and lower back. Aim to do this exercise for about 30 seconds. It's a great one to do if you've been sitting for long periods of time as well. We'll do a few more to either side. Then you can pop the dowel down on the ground. Move one foot behind the other. So then you're going to bring your right arm up and over your body and bend towards the side. This is going to stretch your QL or quadratus lumborum muscle. It's a really good side stretch, and you may also feel it all the way up through the arm and armpit area. Remember to breathe in and out while you're holding a stretch. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Good, and left arm up and over. Play around with a bit of flexion and side bending and rotation with these as well. So if you're just purely doing a side stretch, you might find coming forwards a little bit or twisting the upper body away from the side that you're bending away from, and that can change the stretch that you're feeling slightly as well. And slowly standing back up. Starting on your back, you're going to bring your knees in towards your chest by hugging them just below the knee. Relaxing your head on your pillow, and you can gently move the legs in and out to feel a bit of a stronger stretch. Let's aim to do this about 10 times. If you're feeling this uncomfortable, or if you'd prefer just to hold a stretch, you can just hug the knees in towards you and hold for 30 seconds, and that will get a very similar release. If it's too much using both legs, you can always do one leg at a time as well. This knees to chest stretch is aimed to stretch your lower spine into flexion, and it can also help alleviate stiffness in the muscles and tightness. So it can be a great one if you've been sitting or compressing through your back all day. Perfect, then resting the feet down and allow your knees to rock from side to side. This allows rotation through the lower back and lower parts of the mid-back. Aim to do this anywhere between 5 and 10 times on either side. If you are feeling this really is a nice stretch or exercise for you, you can allow both knees to completely fall to one side and just hold them there and allow them just to release. As George is doing here, you can use one hand over the top of the thigh to just encourage that stretch a bit further. Again, you can hold for 30 seconds if you'd like, or you can hold it just until a nice release is felt. Once you've done all of those, I'll get you to move onto your hands and knees, and we'll go into some cat and camel exercises. Cat and camels are a great exercise because it's incorporating a lot of the spine, moving into flexion and extension. It's a relatively safe exercise for most people to do as well. But again, as we've said in some other videos, please watch your wrists because there can be a bit of loading here. Now you can do these until they feel quite easy. A good amount of repetitions to aim for is anywhere between 10 and 15. So if you feel like you've done enough there, we're now going to move into a child's pose stretch. So just allowing the knees to open up a bit, sitting the pelvis back towards the heels and stretching the arms forwards. I'll get you to take a few deep breaths in and out here, and we're going to aim to hold this stretch for about 30 seconds. So you've got about 20 more to go. And then we're going to add in some rotation to the stretch as well. Remember to keep breathing in and out. If there's any pain felt, please stop. And now you're going to come up slightly, bring one arm through, thread it underneath the opposite arm and twist the upper body to the side. This way you should feel a bit of a stretch going through the back part of the shoulder, and it should just feel very nice. So stop if there's any pain or discomfort. And as George has shown just there, you can bring the other arm behind to the base of the lower back, and that can help allow for a bit more rotation and twist as well. We'll hold for a few more seconds and then we will do the same on the opposite side. Please remember to keep breathing. If you're feeling any discomfort for the knees, if you feel like you've been sitting in this position for too long, please come out, have a stand, have a bit of a stretch and move around as well. All right, I'll get you to change sides now slowly. And let's slowly move on to your back. So now we're going to do some stretches for your glutes. So laying on your back with a head on a pillow, and you're slowly going to bring one knee up and over towards the opposite shoulder. Ideally for these stretches, we'll hold for about 30 seconds. If there is any pinching through the front of the hip, please try and change the angle to try and relieve it. But if it feels uncomfortable, then this stretch just might not be one for you. Some people can find that any position of this leg going up and over can be uncomfortable for the front of the hip. So if that's for you, instead of doing a stretch, you might feel that using a spiky ball or a foam roller is a bit of a nicer way for getting a release for you. So now we'll just move down and across slightly. So we'll just show you one of the different angles here. But if it does feel nice, you can do quite a few different angles, aiming for anywhere between 3 to 4 different changes of the hip angle on each side. And let's swap sides here. So swapping over legs, knee up and across. You can use one hand or two as well, it doesn't really matter. And the leg that's out straight, if it's more comfortable for you to have it bent, that's okay as well. And let's go down and across a little bit. And now we'll go into a Piriformis Stretch. So when you're ready, bring both legs up, putting one ankle over the opposite knee, hugging behind the back of the leg and drawing the leg in towards your chest. These ones are really good stretches to get into the deep part of the glutes. When we spend a lot of time sitting or with any sort of stiffness in the back, the glutes always like to work as a protective muscle to try and help support the back. So it's really common to have tight glutes when you've got a tight or stiff back as well. And when we spend a lot of time sitting, the glutes don't really get much movement or much stretch. So it's really good to make sure you're stretching your glutes as well. we'll just change over to the other side slowly. Okay, and rolling onto your stomach. We're going to do a prone extension articulation. So hands underneath your shoulders, elbows pointing back. So bring them back a little bit further underneath, that's it. And then you're going to slowly articulate up and down. Perfect. Let's aim to do about 10 here. So this movement is designed to create more movement into spinal extension, so that bending back motion, and to stretch through the front of the chest. So this one's great for desk workers, teachers, and people that spend a lot of time bending forwards or slumping forwards. So a lot of tradesmen are like this as well. You can hold the stretch just at the top if that's most comfortable, or sort of propped up on the elbows, or you can do this articulation moving up and down. Both will be beneficial for your back. We'll do one more. Fantastic. Now I'll get you rolling onto your side. We're going to do a quadricep and hip flexor stretch. So we're just going to show you one of these on your side, and then we'll do a lunging one as well. So laying in this position, bending your knee, pulling the heel in towards the buttock region. Most people traditionally know this stretch as a standing stretch, where you stand up, hold on to something, and you basically do this movement. But it sometimes can be nice to change the position just to see where it feels best for you. Again, with any stretch, try and hold for between 20 and 30 seconds, and then we'll do the same on the other side. Great, gently turning over to the other side. And now we're going to move into a lunge hip flexor stretch position. So you're going to start in a kneeling lunge, one leg forward, one leg back. Then you're going to shift the body weight forwards towards that front leg. And if you can reach behind to the back leg and pull the heel in towards the buttocks. This you should feel opening up through the hip, potentially a bit through the inner thigh on the leg that you're lunging towards. And you should definitely feel a stretch going right the way down the front of the leg into the quadricep on the leg that you're bending in towards you. Now it is quite strong, so please stop at any stage that you need. And when you're ready, we'll change sides. And just remember, if this stretch is feeling too much for you, you can let go to the foot at any stage that you need. And just focus on dropping that hip towards the floor. Now we'll move onto the ground and do a hamstring stretch. So legs out straight in front of you. Then when you're ready, you're going to bring one leg into the inner seam of the other thigh and gently bending forwards towards the foot. If you can't reach the foot, then that's okay. So this stretch can be performed sitting down in this position, or you can be doing it standing. So if you're standing, you generally just elevate your leg and just put it up on something about at knee height. You put a small bend in the knee and then you tip the body forwards towards the foot. You should be feeling a nice, comfortable stretch down the back of the hamstring and potentially down into the calf too, especially if you're able to reach the foot and bring the foot back towards you slightly too. And let's change sides slowly.
It's cracking.
Yeah, so you might hear a few little cracks or feel some clicks like what Georgia is here. As long as it's not painful, then it's nothing to worry about. And just remember to keep breathing in and out too while you're doing the stretches. So hamstrings are really important to be stretching when you're doing a lot of sitting or if you've got any sort of back pain, because the hamstrings are very big, important muscles of your posterior chain. And a lot of us, when we're spending too much time sitting, that actually creates a shortening through your hamstrings. So it means that then they can't work and engage when they're supposed to or to the best of their ability. So it's just good to be doing regular stretches through there, especially when we're all working from home and doing a lot more sitting than what we normally would. And once that's stretched enough, I'll get you to lay onto your back, and we're just going to do about 10 slow bridge articulations just to get a bit more movement into our lower back. So you'll start on your back with your arms down by your sides, legs bent, and then you're going to gently press through your heels, curling up the base of the spine, one segment at a time. Once you reach to the top, you're going to soften down from the upper back, one segment at a time, back down into the mat. So we're going to aim to do about 10 of these. It's a really good stretch to work through spinal mobility into flexion and extension, but it actually is also a strength exercise through your back, glutes and hamstrings. So it's a great one to just chuck in to these stretching exercises just to make sure everything's engaging and working like it should. And we'll just do a couple more and then you are all done. Perfect.